Jessica Harris, and I have a free tutorial for you guys today on how to create these wafer paper flowers that I have on this basket weave cake. I actually show how to create this basket weave cake as well as this little gelatin butterfly in my class with Craftsy called the Clean and Simple Collection, Playful Techniques. But we literally ran out of time and I couldn't get to these wafer paper flowers. The wafer paper flowers are actually from my second class, Simply Modern Cake Design, but these ones just have a slightly different center on them to kind of make them look small and dainty for this little basket. So I wanted to show you how to create these specific little flowers because I know you guys might want to create this awesome little basket weave cake for a friend or a family member and would want to know how to create the flowers. So that's what this tutorial is about today. I hope you guys enjoy it.
All right, so I've got my tool set up. I wanted to just show you the difference of there's two different types of flowers I have in my little flower basket. One's bigger than the other one, and there's just different colors. Again, the way that I do the wafer paper is you can either buy it pre-colored or you can airbrush it. Those are the two methods I prefer. You can also, if you have an edible printer, you can print off sheets of color by coloring a whole page in Photoshop or like in Word, a color, and then just print it in that color. You can also paint with cocoa butter and petal dust. I don't prefer that way because it doesn't give you this even coverage. It's more of you see the brush strokes. So for certain applications, it's actually great. But for a flower like this, I really like the clean, just even tone of either an airbrushed or a printed paper. So that's what I'm using here. So the difference between these two is just the number of petals. So this one has 11, this one has 6. And basically, if you want it bigger, you just continue to add more and more petals around the edge. And that's the only difference between these two. So I'm going to do the 6th one because I mainly want to show you just how to do the center, because the center is different than the centers and the flowers I did in my second class with Craftsy called Simply Modern Cake Design. So that's what I wanted to show you guys here, is how to do that. So the first thing we're going to do is you're going to cut out about 6 wafer paper circles. I actually love paper punches, and I save up my coupons for Michael's and Joann's and go down and grab the ones when they're either not on sale or when they are on sale. This is a 1.5 inch punch, and that's what I use to cut out my circles. After you cut out your circles, like I've cut these ones out, you're actually going to cut up the center with a pair of scissors. So you can see that. Don't go past the center. And just for the basic petal, we're just going to kind of do a little piping gel on the edges. And we're just going to kind of overlap it slightly, and it gives us a cupped petal shape. Kind of see how it's cupped like that? The more you overlap, the more cupped it becomes, so the tighter your flower is going to be. If you just barely overlap, then you're going to have a lot more open flower, which is actually really beautiful too. And it's good to kind of mix up your flowers to make them look a little bit more natural. So you'll do about 6 or 7 of those. I usually do an extra one because depending upon how you place them, I might want to add one more or one less because of just the way that the flower looks. So always do an extra couple. Now for the center, what we're going to do is we're going to cut off about 1/4 of our circle. So it looks like Pac-Man. And because we're going to create a cone. And so I'm going to just do a little bit of piping gel here on the edge. And then we're going to overlap it like so to create a tight cone. Kind of see how that looks. Okay, and then again you're going to let that sit for a little while. All right, so there's my cone. Now to start building, what I do is I start with the center. There's a center 3, maybe it might see better on this one. There's a center 3 that I actually like to start with before I start adding my petals around the outside. So what you're going to do is just grab one of the more cupped petals, and I'm going to just put it down so my seam is on the bottom of my countertop. And I just add a little piping gel, and I grab another one, again with the seam down. Kind of see how I'm doing that here, hopefully. I'm going to just press the center like that, and I kind of have this little bunny ear looking thing. And then I put one more on the other side. So I've got this 3 petal center. Again, putting the seam side down. I'm going to press. You can kind of see how it's formed here. See how I have 3 of them together like that? They're all kind of sitting on top of each other, overlapping just slightly. So that's my main center. And then from here, I start building outside. So I'm going to grab the next petal. I'm actually going to put the piping gel on this one. Then I'm going to add it underneath. Like that, pressing down in the center. I'll do another one. These are kind of sticking together. If they get too sticky or they need to kind of sit, then just move on to the next petal. Again, you want to build several of these at the same time. So I find the back where I want to put it. Say here. And I press, adding it to the back. And my hands are getting sticky because of the piping gel. So you might want to have like a little rag to keep your hands clean. I'm going to do one more over here on the edge to kind of make it more round, my little flower more round. You can kind of see that a little bit. So that's good enough for demonstration purposes. I might put one more over here, you know, and even that up as you need to. So then at this point, what you're going to do is you're going to grab a little ball of fondant or modeling chocolate. This is like a little tiny pea size. Obviously you want to make it appropriate for the size of the flower that you're making. So I'm going to roll this into a little ball and get it warmed up. And then actually first you actually need to create that little stamen. And the way I've done that is with this little 5-petal punch. And I just grab a different color. So you can do a gray or a black wafer paper. I'm just choosing to do white. And I've got this little tiny punched flower. And so now what we're going to do is we are going to use a toothpick to attach all this together, and then I can slide the toothpick into my cake. So the first thing I'm going to do is go through my little tiny petal punch. So I'm actually going to hold it and just go right through the center like that, right on my finger. I kind of twist that around and slide it up through there. I've got my fat tip of my toothpick on this side and my narrow tip on that side. And then the next layer is our little cone center. So I'm going to just stick it right through there. Actually, first what you're going to do is put a little piping gel inside the center so that our little stamen can stick. Okay, then we're going to slide that through there. Kind of see how we're working here. And then on here, we're going to take our center again, put a little piping gel there so our little cone will stick. Again, slide that down. And the reason you want to do this now is because everything's really moist. So see how easily I punched right through there? Everything's moist because of that piping gel. So this is the time to assemble, not to wait too long. So now at this point, I'm just going to slide my toothpick down just so it's barely sticking up. Kind of see that hopefully. And then I'm going to take my ball. I'm going to add a little piping gel to the tip of my toothpick. And then put my ball on top of there. And just push it down. And that kind of helps hold everything together. Oops. Again, my hands are sticky, so before you do this, and actually my ball was a little bit too big because I couldn't see my little 5-petal flower, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller and then put it back on there again. There we go. See how that looks now? Now you could leave it, but the cool little texture I do on my flowers is I'm just using a little pair of cuticle scissors. I have these just for my cake projects. There's actually a lot of stuff you can do with these little scissors. It's really, they're super fabulous to have. And we're going to actually just go in and make a cut. And then we're going to turn it and go in and make a cut. I'm going to try to zoom that in a little bit. Hopefully you can see this. But I'm going to cut like this. And then turn it and cut on the edges like this. All the way around. And it kind of gives us this really realistic, beautiful little flower center. And again, I'm sorry if you can't see this very good. I'll have to put a picture in. So that's how you do this. The flower center is just to kind of cut along the edges. And it kind of gives you this really fun little center. And that's it. So then you would just let that dry. When it dries, you would just place it into your cake. And you've got lots of fun, pretty little wafer paper flowers. So it works great. Super simple, really fast to do. So again, if you're interested in learning how to make that basket weave cake, you can check out the link below for 50% off my class with Craftsy called The Clean and Simple Collection, Playful Techniques. Thanks you guys for watching.